All right, welcome back to the Bitfinex live stream. I'm your host, Ricardo Martinez. We're broadcasting from the Plan B Forum in El Salvador. Right now, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Marco Schonenberg. He's a Bitcoin lawyer, and he's here to talk to us about Bitcoin law.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here as well. It's a pleasure to also experience Plan B in El Salvador. And well, yesterday, the first inauguration of Bitfinex Day, the panel was amazing, the event is amazing, the weather is amazing too. So yeah, the regulation here in El Salvador directed towards Bitcoin service providers actually aims to foster the growth of the ecosystem, right? As you know, the history of El Salvador, it's been a sad history, history tied by limitations of freedom. So the introduction of Bitcoin as a legal tender, the introduction of licenses for Bitcoin service providers, and the possibility to issue real-world assets on the Bitcoin network, be it on the mainnet using Taproot, for example, or be it in a layer 2 solution such as Liquid Network, actually helps to develop the vision for freedom, for financial freedom and inclusion, not only here but also around the world, using El Salvador as the financial and technological hub.
As someone that's like really plugged in with the scene here with Bitcoin businesses and like, you know, the legal aspect of that, like what potential do you personally see for tokenization?
Well, the tokenization regulation here is actually it's in the top 3 crypto asset regulations in the whole world. We're actually the only jurisdiction which offers complete tax incentives to issuers of digital assets. In this case, it would be real-world assets tokenized on top of any Bitcoin solution, mainnet or scalable solution. So the possibility to convert previous illiquid assets into liquid and this new means of financing for companies is actually a door to, like, it opens the door for startups, for small, medium, and big companies to leverage the friendly jurisdiction here in El Salvador and to potentiate their business as well as to potentiate the growth of the country.
Yeah, no, I can see that. With tokenization and businesses coming here to pursue this friendly regulatory climate, like what kind of things are you seeing being tokenized by these businesses?
Well, actually, the law regulates 3 types of basic tokens, but basically any business model can be tokenized because it's divided into 3 segments. You can tokenize debt instruments, you can tokenize property instruments such as equity, and you can tokenize future income flows or cash flows. Every business has a cash flow, every business has equity. Some businesses need to raise capital in order to carry out their projects. So the jurisdiction is very technology neutral. It supports the growth of businesses. It aims to support the growth of the country. So to be like an example, you can see, well, NextBridge tokenized treasury bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the underlying asset.
They raised like almost $50 million, correct?
Yeah, 30.
Okay,
30 if I recall good, in like a period span of 96 hours.
Yeah.
So this, of course, opens the possibility for investors to participate in fractionalized investments.
Okay.
Leveraging, in this case, the Liquid Network. It leverages the underlying security and privacy of the Bitcoin mainnet. It uses confidential transactions. It even has future additional security features such as native multi-signatures and the possibility to recover assets through blacklisting and minting. So it's like a very well thought protocol. It aligns very well with the objectives of the regulation and with the objectives of El Salvador as a whole.
Okay. And with this tokenization, we've talked about how there's companies coming from abroad and looking to take advantage of the friendly regulatory climate, but are El Salvadorian businesses themselves excited about the possibilities that this regulation brings?
Yes, definitely. You know, the traditional ways to raise capital or to access financial mediums,
yeah,
it has very high entry barriers,
yeah,
high transaction costs, bureaucratic procedures. So here, it was very well thought by the the people who created this law and who passed it, and the narrative that has been followed, because it aims to reduce those transaction costs. It aims to reduce the bureaucratic procedure. It assigns a supervisory agencies such as the National Commission of Digital Assets, a specialized entity. It introduces filters for investor protection, such as certifiers, which are third-party, independent third parties, private third parties that carry out the legal, financial, technical, and commercial analysis regarding the viability of the project. So that makes it easy for investors and for local companies to access or to embark on this relatively new form of financing themselves, and accessing also the potential for investors to get some kind of return for their investment while leveraging tax incentives as well.
In your opinion, like, what do you see as like more powerful? The fact that Bitcoin is legal tender, or the fact that there's like clear regulations for this tokenization and digital assets?
Definitely both.
Both?
Because, well, following what I was saying before, the ethos of Bitcoin is financial freedom.
Yeah.
It's a peer-to-peer payment system, electronic payment system, which introduces game theory, introduces cryptographic elements to protect the network in order for it to be not controlled by a single or a federated entity.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know how the traditional financial world works, right?
Yeah.
So it leverages decentralization. It allows anyone to participate either as a node on the consensus mechanism or as a user on the network. And the possibility of Bitcoin to store value and the properties of money it has, and even the immutability that blockchain introduces, is also a very strong factor that it actually complies with all the definitions of the definition of money, and it acts as an extra layer. And the fact that tokenization is able here, and there is a clear regulation, it allows for foreign or local companies to have regulatory certainty, which there is not in other jurisdictions, because you might get like entities can come and they might want to fiscalize you or pursue you for something.
Uh-huh.
So a clear classification of Bitcoin as legal tender, and a clear classification that tokens are not securities here.
Yeah.
Even if it's a financial instrument, it's a digital asset.
Yeah.
It provides legal certainty for everyone involved. All the parties involved, not only the investors, but the issuers, the digital asset service providers, the certifiers who participate in public offerings of
That's a game
tokens.
changer, right?
Yeah, of course. It is.
So Marco, you know your stuff when it comes to talking about Bitcoin and crypto, and especially here in El Salvador. How did you, like, as a lawyer, become a Bitcoiner?
Well, I started with my best friend. I'll shout him out if I may.
Yeah.
Francisco Montenegro. He is my mentor. He's been my best friend for years.
Okay.
And we embarked on this journey together. He's also a referent in this topic at Latin American level.
Yeah.
So we started in 2015, just exploring around, you know. I remember I tried to buy Bitcoin in 2015, but I couldn't because I couldn't pass the KYC of an exchange because of the utility bill and stuff. And then I started like getting deep into it, you know, like not only playing around, but also like starting to read the white paper, who was Hal Feeney, for example,
Yeah.
electronic gold,
Yeah.
timestamps, the importance of timestamps, consensus mechanism, the Byzantine generals problem and how it was solved and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started getting more into the academic side, more as a hobby. And
Yeah.
then, of course, I took my degree in law, but I also kept that in parallel. And what I did is, in order to pursue a career in crypto, specifically in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
related businesses, I decided to course a master's degree in blockchain and digital currencies. I was living in Europe for a couple of years, and of course the networking effect and talks, attending events and stuff, and hanging out with Bitcoiners also helped a lot. And El Salvador as a Bitcoin country, of course, it potentiated not only my interest, but the interest of a whole country as well.
Okay, last question, because the sun's beating down on us. But where do you see, like, what's your prediction for El Salvador and Bitcoin in 2 years?
Look, I think El Salvador, well, everyone knows El Salvador. We have two differentiating factors. Bitcoin is one, and of course the president is the other one. So I see El Salvador becoming a financial and technological hub for Bitcoin-oriented businesses. Businesses that want to leverage the technical aspect of Bitcoin, the freedom it induces, the clear regulation here, the incentives that are brought to not only local companies but also foreign companies that want to use El Salvador as their hub. And I see the market expanding, like definitely, specifically the tokenization market. And of course, solutions to tokenize on top of Bitcoin, be it in the mainnet, such as Taproot assets through UTXOs or through side chains like Liquid Network. And we welcome everything. Like El Salvador welcomes everything. You can see like everyone here, all nationalities, everyone's having a good time, and there are no political, religious differences. It's only Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know? So I think more than the growth of businesses, it's a growth of a community.
I would say that the community is definitely established because, like, El Zonte, started it all off, and then they kicked off the catalyst for, like, the Bitcoin law to be enacted. But since the Bitcoin law was passed, there are a ton of people that have come here from all over the world to take advantage of, like, the ability to live under a Bitcoin standard and have financial freedom here in El Salvador.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I also applaud the efforts of Bitfinex, of encouraging the growth of the ecosystem, adoption, education, fighting for privacy and freedom of speech and financial freedom. I'm all with that. So
yeah.
I really
well, thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing the interview, man.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.